हेलो, आवाज देख लो। हेलो, hello everyone, welcome back to Kalam Academy. So we were looking at the current affairs for the UPSC मेंस 2023 और आज हम लोग देखेंगे इंडियन सोसाइटी जीएस पेपर 1 का प्लस सोशल जस्टिस पार्ट ऑफ जीएस पेपर 2. So we will be discussing 7 questions and it will be based on the current affairs, something which was in the news in last 2-3 months. So based on that all these questions has been framed, right? So let's start. Please read this question, then we will start. If anyone online, please comment. So the question says, it is observed that countries around the world are adopting deglobalization. Discuss the causes behind the phenomenon of the deglobalization and the impact of it may have on the Indian society, right? So how many parts will you frame in the main body? First part you will be writing how the countries around the world are adopting deglobalization, this statement. Then second part you will be writing what are the causes behind the phenomenon of deglobalization, and it is a 15 mark. Start. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Kalam Academy and we are looking at the current affairs series for the UPSC मेंस point of view जो अभी आप लोगों का एक मंथ के बाद होने वाला है. I hope you are preparing well and today we will be discussing this society, Indian society GS paper 1 as well as the social justice part of the GS paper 2. So we will be discussing 7 questions in total. Let's start with question number 1. Right. So the first question says that it is observed that countries around the world are adopting deglobalization. Discuss the causes behind the phenomenon of the deglobalization and the impact of it may have on the Indian society. So this is a 15 marker question. You have to write it in the 250 marks. So first thing कि after reading the question you should ensure कि आप कितने parts लिखने वाले हो main body में, that you should mark on the question itself, right? जैसे first part जो आएगा वो आएगा कि you will have to explain the countries around the world are adopting deglobalization. So how countries around the world are adopting deglobalization? What are the examples do you have for this? How do you explain it, right? Then what are the causes behind the phenomenon of the deglobalization? Second part this will be. Third part will be the impact it may have on the Indian society. Now the deglobalization may have both positive impact as well as the negative impact, right? If anyone is there on online, please comment. Right. So it will have positive as well as the negative impact. So there will be total 4 parts in the question. That is, first you will be explain the adopting the deglobalization, second will be the causes behind the phenomenon of the deglobalization, third will be positive impact of the deglobalization, and fourth will be the negative impact of the deglobalization on the Indian society. Right? Then what can you write in the introduction? This should be your structuring: introduction, main body, and the conclusion. So what would you write in the introduction? See, the word here is the deglobalization, which is not very famous words, right? So you can define deglobalization in the introduction, and then you can connect the theme of the question to the introduction. So by this method you can make a good introduction. In main body you will be framing 4 parts. We will be discussing that. And what can you write in the conclusion? In conclusion you can say that even if all like ग्लोबलाइजेशन होने से तो बहुत ज्यादा फायदा हो रहा है वर्ल्ड को. Since ancient times globalization has been there, so it has been benefiting the whole world. तो इंडिया को ये चाहिए that it should promote globalization, right? But अगर डीग्लोबलाइजेशन हो रहा है, बिकॉज इंडिया के कंट्रोल में नहीं है ये डीग्लोबलाइजेशन, राइट? अगर दूसरे कंट्रीज वापस जाना चाह रहे हैं बैक टू देयर नेशनल इंटरेस्ट, सो ये इंडिया के कंट्रोल में नहीं है. सो इंडिया शुड ट्राई टू प्रमोट सम फॉर्म ऑफ द ग्लोबलाइजेशन, बट इफ इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल, देन in that case what India should do? India should go for self sufficiency, जैसे आत्मनिर्भर भारत, मेक इन इंडिया कैंपेन, all these things should be there, right? If you have to think the main body, how would you think? Countries adopting deglobalization. How are the countries adopting deglobalization? जैसे आपने ब्रेक्जिट का नाम सुना होगा, ब्रेक्जिट हुआ है यूरोपियन यूनियन से, देन अमेरिकन्स आर टेकिंग बैक, ठीक है, मल्टीनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, राइट? So multinational organizations has been some of the multinational organization has been dysfunctional, और developed countries का जो है बहुत ज्यादा रोल होता था सुपरसीडिंग पावर्स ऑन द मल्टीनेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस, फॉर एग्जांपल वर्ल्ड बैंक, IMF, all the things. So they try to control, right? Then causes behind the phenomenon of deglobalization, क्या क्या causes हो सकता है deglobalization का, ठीक है? तो एक तो यह है कि डिप्लोमेटिक इश्यूज हो रहे हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल इंडिया चाइना वॉर हो रहा है, सो लाइक दैट. देन देयर आर पेंडेमिक्स हैपनिंग, कोविड पेंडेमिक, इसके कारण भी लोग अपने बॉर्डर्स को क्लोज कर रहे हैं. देन रिफ्यूजी क्राइसिस, माइग्रेंट क्राइसिस, right? All these things are happening. So because of all these factors, the countries is going for the deglobalization, right? Then what are the positive impacts of the deglobalization? अगर deglobalization होता है इंडिया के, तो इंडिया पे क्या पॉजिटिव इंपैक्ट होगा? इंडिया का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर हैज बीन लैकिंग, एंड सो इट विल बी ए ग्रेट अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर इंडिया टू डेवलप manufacturing sectors from within the country. So self sufficiency in the manufacturing sectors can be achieved अगर इंडिया चाहे तो, right? So in this line you can write there are some kind of the positive also, but obviously deglobalization से जो है वो बहुत ज्यादा पॉजिटिव फैक्टर नहीं है, सस्टेनेबल मेथड्स नहीं होता. आप कितना दिन आप वर्ल्ड से डिसकनेक्टेड रहोगे? थिंक अबाउट द नॉर्थ कोरिया हैज बीन डिसकनेक्टेड कंप्लीटली, एंड उसका डेवलपमेंट नहीं हो रहा, सोशल डेवलपमेंट नहीं होता, पॉलिटिकल डेवलपमेंट नहीं होता, राइट? ह्यूमन राइट्स वायलेट हो रहे हैं, नेचुरल राइट्स नहीं मिल रहा सिटीजन को. सो ग्लोबलाइजेशन ऑल टुगेदर, इसको बंद करना इज नॉट ए गुड आइडिया, राइट? देन कम टू द सी, दिस इज द deglobalization, how people are cutting their countries from the entire world and they are getting isolated, right? So in introduction you can write that deglobalization is a movement towards less connected world characterized by powerful nation states, local solutions and border control rather than global institutions, treaty and free movement. Deglobalization had both positive and negative impact on media, and what would be the positive and negative impact that we would be seeing. Okay. In main body you can write the first part, that is how do you say that the countries are adopting deglobalization. कैसे पता आपको, right? How would you prove that countries are adopting deglobalization? So first Brexit happened, Britain exited from the European Union. In European Union Britain was more globalized in nature, but from the exit of the Britain from the European Union, it has isolated itself from the European Union. So this is some form of the deglobalization. Then there are several kinds of trade barriers and regulations, right? So what is this for? This is to restrict the other country's product in your own country, isn't it? To restrict the imports. So this is trade barriers, and also to restrict your exports. If you do not want to support some other country, then you will also restrict your export. So trade barriers and protectionism is there. Import substitution policy being adopted. Every country is following this import substitution policies, right? For example, India itself. India has gone for the Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India campaign, all these things. So import substitution policy has been adopted. Every country wants to become self-sufficient. Then we have reduced multilateral agreements. The way World Trade Organization used to function before, right? The way other multilateral organizations used to function before, right? So that is not happening right now. So this shows deglobalization. Many countries are taking out from multilateral institution. For example, USA had earlier taken out itself from the Paris Climate Deal. So they are taking out. So this is deglobalization. Then the nationalistic policies, for example, America for the Americans, America first policy of the Donald Trump, the former president of the United States of America. This also reflects deglobalization, because they said that the jobs which is being created in India, job which is being created in the United States of America, that should be given to the Americans. So America first, the slogan came, right? This is a form of deglobalization. And the trade regionalization, instead of going for the World Trade Organization, where whole world is trading from the least developed countries to the developing countries to the developed countries, whole world is trading. Instead of that, they are going for the regional trades. For example, RCEP is coming, right? So this reflects that deglobalization is happening around the world. Then what are the causes? What are the causes because of which you have to write causes, right? Causes behind the phenomenon of the deglobalization. So causes behind the phenomenon of the deglobalization is the nationalistic ideology is getting more prominent, right? The people want to follow, everyone want to, every country, most of the countries are want to follow the nationalistic ideologies. They want, for example, America wants for the Americans, right? Similar is the case with Canada also. Then the distrust of the global institution. This, like, there is lack of trust on the international organizations, trade agreement and multilateral corporation. So overall distrust is there. The trust building mechanism has been losing, right? इस कारण से लोग एक दूसरे पे ट्रस्ट नहीं कर रहे और अपने आप को प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं. ग्लोबल वार्मिंग टाइप की सिचुएशंस, देन ग्लोबल क्राइसिस, ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस. एक कंट्री में ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस आया, एक कंट्री में क्राइसिस आया, वो पूरे वर्ल्ड को वो घेर लिया, राइट? सो ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस पूरे वर्ल्ड में आ गया. उसके बाद से ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस 2008 के बाद से बहुत सारे कंट्री ने अपने आप को प्रोटेक्ट करना स्टार्ट कर दिया. प्रोटेक्शनिज्म केम, राइट? देन द राइज ऑफ जियोपॉलिटिकल टेंशंस. इंडिया एंड चाइना के बीच में डोकलाम इशू, ये सब चीजें, गलवान इशू, all these things was happening. So because of this, what happened? India banned several applications, mobile applications of the Chinese company. India also banned Huawei, right? India also applied several kinds of the trade barriers, right? So what is this? This is some kind of the deglobalization also only. Then the desire for sovereignty, for example, African nations are coming out of the international criminal courts, right? Because they feel that they have been exploited, they have been discriminated. For the same issue on which the developed nation has been set free, on the same issue, African nations has to pay heavy fines, heavy penalties, right? Then the security concern is there, the transfer of sensitive technologies, espionage, all these things are there, because of which the whole world are concerned, and because of this concern they want to protect the country from outside, and this is deglobalization, right? Then what are the positive impact? What are the positive impact of deglobalization? If deglobalization comes, India has already escaped manufacturing sectors growth, right? India has directly transferred from the agriculture sector to the service sector. तो इंडिया के पास ये चांस है कि डीग्लोबलाइजेशन के सिचुएशन पे आके आप आत्मनिर्भर भारत, मेक इन इंडिया टाइप की चीजें को करके अपने मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर को इंप्रूव कर लो, राइट? एंड व्हेन द कंट्री इज फोर्स्ड, देन चाहे या नहीं चाहे कंट्री को करना पड़ जाता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, सी द टाइप ऑफ सक्सेस इसरो एंड डीआरडीओ हैज गॉट. ये मुमकिन नहीं था, बट इन्होंने करके दिखाया, बिकॉज एक्सटर्नल कोई सपोर्ट नहीं आ रहा था. तो हो सकता है अगर एक्सटर्नल सपोर्ट बंद हो जाए तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में आत्मनिर्भर भारत करके, सेल्फ सफिशिएंसी करके, इंडिया कैन अचीव द बून इन द manufacturing sector also. Then it can reduce the income inequality, because if manufacturing sector is boosting more, there will be more generation of the formalization of the job will be there more, right? So more formal sector jobs will be created, and when there is more formal sector jobs, then the per capita income will be increasing, right? And per capita income will increase, so there will be reduction in the inequalities. Increase India's share in the global trade. So India may produce larger quantity of the goods, right? Then the reduced vulnerability to the global economic shock. Just now we have seen that how global economic crisis after 2008, it had hampered the economic growth of whole world. So such kind of the shock can be stopped by India. Then there can be enhanced national security, because outsider is not allowed to come in the country, right? So better internal security can be there, no outside influence, no non-state actors acting, right? Then the localized innovation, like the ISRO and DRDO, we just took the example. So such kind of more institutions can come up, and they will be innovating in several dimensions, है ना? Then it may reduce trade deficit, because self sufficiency will be there, import will be restricted, there will be less import, right? And because of this less import, this trade deficit will be reducing, right? So these are the benefits which can happen through the deglobalization. What are the negative impact of the deglobalization? Climate change cooperation may impact. Just now we had seen that the USA has took out itself from Paris climate deal. So ऐसा नहीं है कि पेरिस क्लाइमेट डील किसी भी रैंडम चीजों के लिए हो रहा था, वो अर्थ को बचाने के लिए हो रहा है, right? Still the country like the USA under the Donald Trump rules was taking out from the Paris climate deal. तो हो सकता है अगर डीग्लोबलाइजेशन, बहुत सारे कंट्रीज डीग्लोबलाइजेशन की तरफ चले जाएं तो इस तरह का क्लाइमेट चेंज एग्रीमेंट्स may not be happening, right? Then the loss of employment and the job opportunities is there, because so many Indians are going abroad for the job. So many Indian engineers, doctors are working in the USA and European countries. So if deglobalization happens, such job opportunities will be lost. High energy cost may be there, because what happens when deglobalization happens, there may be lots of sanctions. USA sanctioning on the Russia sanctioning on the USA, right? So similar kinds of there are several kinds of USA sanctioning on the China. So such kind of sanctioning happens, right? And because of all these sanctions, for example, USA sanctioned Iran, so we could not import oil from the Iran, right? So energy security problem occurs. Then it may also impact food security, because still India is importing large quantity of palm oil, large quantity of pulses. So all these things will hamper, right? Then higher prices for the consumers, because the domestic price, the domestic products may not be having enough, the domestic product may not be having enough competition. Therefore what will happen, this price will be reducing. Price will not reduce, it will further enhance, there will be more inflation, right? Then there may be reduction in the foreign investment, because if there is deglobalization and every country is trying to have investment of their own, why some institution will invest in other countries, right? So foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment, such kind of investment may be restricted, right? So this was the part of the negative impact of the deglobalization. What can you conclude? You can conclude that the globalization has been there since ancient times and has brought prosperity in the world. हमेशा से रहा है globalization. The recent trend of deglobalization should be avoided, as it may not be sustained. India should promote globalization as well as work on becoming self-sufficient to avoid any kind of negative impact of the deglobalization. India को promote करना चाहिए globalization, but if whole world is going for the deglobalization, you cannot control it. What are the power India has? तो उस केस में क्या करो कि आप अपने आप को आत्मनिर्भर बनाओ, आप अपने आप को सेल्फ सफिशिएंट बनाओ, so that even in case of deglobalization your economy does not get hampered, right? So this you have to write in this question. Please read this question number. Question number this second question says that the child labor is a silent epidemic, ravages the lives of millions of children, robbing them of their rightful childhood dreams and opportunities, right? Discuss how universal social protection can help in ending the menace of child labor in India. ठीक है, so this is the question. Obviously there will be two parts in the main body. First part will be the child labor. You will explain this thing. Child labor is a silent epidemic, ravages the lives of the millions of the children, robbing them of their righthood childhood. First part. Then the second part will be discuss how universal social protection can help in ending the menace of the child labor in India. So this will be the two parts. It is a 10-mark question. In 150 words you have to write. So 5 points if you write in both, that would be more than sufficient. What would you write in the introduction? If you have some kind of the data, if you have some kind of the reports, right? So you can write in the introduction that so much child labor is prevalent in the country, and such kind of the child labor is hampering the growth of children, right? So by this you can introduce main body. There will be two parts. In how can you conclude? Obviously there should be some solution oriented, and you should connect with the theme of the question. So universal social protection can help. And what is universal social protection? The name suggests that it is universal, means for everything, social to uplift the society, and protection it will protect. So what will you do? It will do, it will try to uplift people out of the poverty, it will try to reduce the hunger, it will try to have the better education system, it will try to have the better health system. So overall holistic development will be there under the universal social protection, right? Then the child labor robbing childhood and dreams, how can you write? Because you can also write some of the data, some of the to explain how this child labor is robbing childhood and what is happening. Education is not there, health system is not there. So such kind of things is, if someone has to go through the child labor, then they will not be having good education, and good education if they will not have, even if they become adult, at that point of time also they will not get a good job, right? So that is there, it will be robbing the childhood and the dreams. Then the second part is how universal social protection can help. So universal social protection, it will be helping in multiple domains. For example, for the poverty elimination, hunger elimination, for providing education, providing health services. So through all these methods, universal social protection will be in help, right? How can you introduce? You can introduce that as per the census 2011, in the age group of 5 to 14 years, 10.1 million population was children, out of which 259.6 million are victims of the child labor, right? So near about 1/4 population of the children are victim of the child labor. Also you can mention the Article 24 of the Constitution. Article 24 of the Constitution prohibits employment of the child below 14 years of the age in the factories and other hazardous industries, but still child labor persists, and the universal social protection may be helpful in eliminating the child labor in India, right? In main body, what can you write? That child labor is robbing. How do you say that this child labor is robbing childhood and the dreams? So you can say that the 70%, the total number of the child which is working in the in our country, means out of the total child labor, 70% of the child are employed in the agriculture sector, 20% are employed in the service sector, and 10% are employed in the industry sector. So even if we have Child Labor Prohibition Regulation Amendment Act 2016, this has not been implemented properly, and because of this, such kind of the child labor is there in every kind of the sectors, right? Then it deprives education, and when because of child labor, a child is not getting enough educated enough, they will be doing some menial jobs when they will be adult, right? Then it also affects the physical and the mental health of the children, because that child may be seeing some other well-off child who are going to the schools, who are means अच्छे dresses पहन के वो लोग स्कूल जा रहे हैं, right? So they will be looking at them and they will be feeling jealous, so it may hamper the mental health, right? They may feel that what have the mistakes they have created. Then the cycle of poverty keeps on rotating, because if you start as a child labor, you will be getting very low amount of money, you will be getting very low salary, right? And such salary continues, ठीक है, बड़ा होने के बाद भी वो पेनुअल लेबर करते हैं और वो सैलरी कंटिन्यू होता है. मिस्ड अपॉर्चुनिटी, हाई पेइंग जॉब्स उनको मिल ही नहीं पाएगा. एंड स्टिपल्स क्रिएटिविटी नहीं हो पाएगा चिल्ड्रेन का, राइट? सो दैट विल बी द इशू, दैट विल बी द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ चाइल्ड लेबर. इसीलिए इनके पास ये ना कुछ क्रिएटिव कर पा रहे हैं, इनका फिजिकल मेंटल हेल्थ सब कुछ खत्म हो जा रहा है, ड्रीम्स इनके फुलफिल नहीं होंगे. बिकॉज हो सकता है कि कोई सपना देखा होगा कि डॉक्टर बने, इंजीनियर बने, या फिर पॉलिटिशियन बने, या लॉयर बने, कुछ भी बने, बट चाइल्ड लेबर में अगर आप बच्चे से लग जाओगे, पढ़ाई नहीं कर पाओगे, तो क्या होगा? नहीं बन पाएंगे वो आगे जाके, राइट? देन यूनिवर्सल सोशल प्रोटेक्शन. The universal social protection refers to the nationally defined system of the policies and program that provide equitable access to all people and protect them throughout their lives against poverty and risk to their livelihood and well-beings, right? So that will be there in main body of the universal social protection. Means you are saying what? Overall development is there, access to all people and protect them throughout their lives against the poverty, risk and livelihood. Poverty से related, livelihood से related and overall well-being से related, means education से related, housing से related, सारे तरह का प्रोटेक्शन जो है यूनिवर्सल सोशल प्रोटेक्शन के अंदर वो आ सकता है, राइट? तो यूनिवर्सल सोशल प्रोटेक्शन कैन हेल्प ऑब्वियसली टू लेसन द पॉवर्टी, एंड पॉवर्टी रिड्यूस होगा, किसी भी फैमिली की पॉवर्टी रिड्यूस होगी तो वो ऑब्वियसली वो फैमिली अपने बच्चों को स्कूल भेजेगी. Every person, every parents want that their children should go to the school, they should be more knowledgeable, they should be getting good paying jobs, right? Then they will be having access to better healthcare facilities, right? Other nutritional support they can be have, because in universal social protection obviously hunger factor will be there, so nutritional support will also be there, right? It may help in eliminating the hunger. We have to achieve the sustainable development goal 1, zero hunger, so that may be achieved, right? Then the targeted assistance, take out child out of the industry, rehabilitation should be there, child labor should be rehabilitated and they should be sent to the good boarding schools or some other school, means to some other location where the child is safe, right? Then it can strengthen the education sector as well as it can strengthen the family system. How will it strengthen? Some kind of the skill development, skill development can be provided to their parents so that they would be working, they will be earning and the children will be going to the school, right? So universal social protection will be providing benefits universally, right? What can you conclude? You can conclude that the child labor snatches dreams and rights of the children, which is a basic human right. ये एक बेसिक ह्यूमन राइट है, चाइल्ड को चाइल्डहुड नहीं छीन लो, चाइल्ड का अगर चाइल्डहुड छीना जा रहा है तो उसके बेसिक ह्यूमन राइट्स वायोलेट हो जा रहा है. सो बेसिक ह्यूमन राइट्स इज वायोलेटेड, तो उसको इंश्योर करो, चाइल्ड लेबर को हटाओ, बेसिक ह्यूमन राइट्स को इंश्योर करो. इन दिस रिगार्ड गवर्नमेंट शुड टेक इनिशिएटिव टू इंश्योर यूनिवर्सल सोशल प्रोटेक्शन. और उससे क्या होगा, ये मीनेस जो है कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली ये चाइल्ड लेबर वाला इशू जो है वो सॉल्व हो सकता है, बिकॉज ओवरऑल फैमिली का इंप्लीमेंट हो जा रहा है थ्रू यूनिवर्सल सोशल प्रोटेक्शन, राइट? समझ में आ रहा है? देन प्लीज रीड क्वेश्चन नंबर 2. The question number 2 says, if there anyone online, please comment. Poor nutrition can have several consequences